What's up, wrestling fans? Tony Mango here with another edition of the Internet Wrestling Community Outreach portion of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast for the week. Possibly the very, very last IWC outreach, because this is episode number 300, and I mentioned before, might not be doing this afterward. We still have a couple of days until whenever I'll do the next one, or I won't. We got to sort that out eventually. But regardless, we're going to continue things like we have always done here. We're going to start things off with the Smark My Words, one of my favorite comments that you guys had put out there throughout the week in audience land. And this time around, instead of going with a joke, I'm going to go with a pretty well-spoken one from Elliot Baker. It's on the screen right now on YouTube for you to check it out if you want to check it out. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there was a thread on the Mega Maniacs about the possibility of Daniel Bryan coming back in the ring and whether or not we like it. And he left a pretty well-spoken, good idea of, like, the arguments of, like, pros and cons for it. So I ended up liking that one quite a bit. So Elliot Baker, thumbs up. You win a grand prize of nothing, just like everybody else has won. But thanks, obviously, to Elliot and to all the others who left comments all over the place on our YouTube videos, on our Twitter account, and that aforementioned group on Facebook, which you can find at facebook.com/groups/themegamaniacs. If you don't know what that is, it's where we do our live chats throughout the week, and it's also where we just kind of bullshit and hang out with each other. So if you are on Facebook and you are not in that group, make sure you hit that little button that says that you want to join it, and we'll add you in there, and you can have some fun with us. Start sending in your questions for the September mailbag special. That's going to be happening a couple of weeks from now, obviously, when we hit September, and we are going to try to arrange that around the end of the month or so, but not quite 100% sure exactly when the date is. So if you do have questions that you want to pick our brains about, whether it's something wrestling related or completely unrelated to wrestling, you can submit your questions at any time by tweeting at SmarkOutMoment with the hashtag mailbag, or leaving an email through the contact form of the website if it's a little bit longer than what you can get in a tweet. And whether it's, this week, next week, whatever the case may be, if you send your questions in, I will keep track of them for you, and we will answer them when we get around to doing that episode. So it's pretty convenient, huh? If you want to help support the growth of Smark Out Moment in the future, there's a couple things that you should be aware of going forward with that. As far as monetary donations go, you can donate money with the PayPal button at the bottom of smarkoutmoment.com, the YouTube fan funding button, or the Patreon account, of course. And a somewhat indirect way of doing that is to buy t-shirts and other types of merchandise over at our Redbubble and our TeePublic shops. I'm going to be sometime over the next couple of weeks or so uploading more Fanboys Anonymous designs to the Redbubble one. I just created a Redbubble account for that one. But we do have a Fanboys and a Smark Out Moment and an A Mango Tees account for TeePublic, and we have a Smark Out Moment for Redbubble. So check them out. You might be finding something pretty interesting there that you're interested in. But if you don't have the spare change and you want to help out in a completely different way than that, there are some things that are not dealing with money that you guys can do. One thing is, if you're going to a wrestling show, bring a sign that says Smark Out Moment, and as part of the Sign Me Up initiative, if you send me a picture of yourself holding it up, then I will give you a shout out on the podcast or the website or whatever we're doing in that regard. But the most important thing that you can do is to help us grow our social media accounts. And you can do that by retweeting and following us on Twitter, liking and sharing our posts on Facebook, giving each and every YouTube video a thumbs up, subscribing to the YouTube channel if you haven't done it already, leaving your comments on there as well to keep the discussion going, or sharing the website's articles or videos or pretty much everything else on places like Reddit and on message boards and just not 4chan. Just don't do it there. But anything that you guys do to get our name out there is greatly appreciated because it all helps out quite a little bit. And the same thing obviously applies to fanboysanonymous.com, which is my spot for movie reviews and other kind of things on the geek culture spectrum. So if you want to be taking part of that kind of stuff, head on over to fanboysanonymous.com, follow the Facebook and Twitter accounts, subscribe to that YouTube channel, which is of course .com/fanboysanonymous, and do everything that you'd be doing the same thing for Smark Out Moment. Just apply it to Fanboys Anonymous. Sister website can succeed whether or not Smark Out Moment does, and they can kind of piggyback off each other and kind of just keep the ball rolling like that. But that brings us to the major topic of the video, the wrestling trivia question of the week, otherwise known as the Ask Him. Last week's question was about Mae Young, since the Mae Young Classic was going to be starting, and the question was, who did Mae Young defeat in her last match? That was Lay Cool in a no disqualification 2-on-1 handicap match on November 15th, 2010, on Monday Night Raw. It only lasted 49 seconds, and she beat two people who were co-WWE Women's Champions at the time. So, pretty good way to end her career, essentially. That brings us to this week's question, and since this is possibly the very last Ask Him, or at least it's the last Ask Him as far as the current incarnation goes, I figured I'd bring back kind of a classic and do a little allusion to it. Which pro wrestling bull recently touched up one of his tattoos? If you think you know the answer, or you want to leave a guess or leave anything else like that, then do so in the comments below. And I can't really tell you next week what the answer is or so. Maybe I'll just leave it in the comments. But I want to thank you all for checking out the IWC Outreach. This was an experiment that I had done for quite a while, separating the rest hold, and it went along pretty well when it came to the 5-part episode idea. But over time, I realized that it's just kind of not sustainable. There's not enough content in it that really people are too interested in. So the people that did stick around, I thank you a whole lot for doing that. That means a lot. And the people who want to see these segments apply elsewhere, keep in mind, one of the main reasons why I'm not going to be continuing to do this anymore is because it's extra editing work, and it's actually the same if I were to just do the same thing on the hot tags. So that's actually, harder to do. But some possibilities of what we might do. The Smark My Words might be something that I could do on the Mega Maniacs or on Twitter. The Ask Him might be done on Twitter. I'm going to try to figure that out with Callum to kind of take the ball and maybe start applying it there. And maybe the Facebook page, facebook.com/smarkoutmoment, of course. And the Did You Know? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the Did You Know. Maybe I'll just put that in front of every hot tag or something. Not every hot tag, but maybe every edition of the hot tags or midway through the hot tags or something. I don't know. I'm going to have to try to figure that out. But if you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Tell me what you think. And as always, again, as I mentioned before, thanks for checking this out. And we will be seeing you in the next video, which is going to be our main event for the week, the Smack Talk Scramble, where we're just going to be kind of shooting the shit, talking about some old memories of the show and some generic wrestling comments and, kind of having a little bit of an all-talk show mixed in with an episode of Smack Talk. So stay tuned for that, everybody. Make sure you click on that little bell that says that you can check off for receiving notifications, and that way you'll be aware of when we do upload that sometime Friday night or Saturday or Sunday or something like that. For now, though, this has been another Smark Out moment, and I'm being counted out.